Rays are loving life on the road, winning 4 straight on their current 7-game trip, highlighted by outstanding pitching and timely power at the plate. Tonight in Game 3 from Toronto, the Rays face an old nemesis, lefty Mark Burley and the Blue Jays. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Showdown, presented by your local Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. We greet you from the northwest shore of Lake Ontario, where tonight the Rays and the Blue Jays will commemorate the 68th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier by taking a spot at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Thank you for looking in tonight, where the Rays have won 2 one-run games. And last night, Souza Jr. put on number 1, a power display and a great exhibition of small ball.
I think everybody's been eagerly anticipating a breakout game by Souza Jr., and that is exactly what we all got to witness last night, and he got it started early. The first pitch that he would see, a fastball, and he would absolutely wreck that pitch, knock out the back wall of Rogers Center just about, showing the kind of power that he has. And then later in the game, right here in the 8th inning, game on the line, he anticipates a breaking ball, gets it, drops down a bunt for a base hit, gets a very efficient and good jump there and stealing second with 1 out, pops up, gets over to third, and would end up scoring the winning run on the sacrifice fly here to center field. He would add another base hit later in the game, and you saw the skill set of Souza and what he is capable of. Speed, the bunt, the power. Tell you something right now, very, very exciting future for that young man.
As you can see, just minutes away from the first pitch tonight in the 3rd game of this 4-game series. Jackie Robinson remembered today. Todd Callis with more when we return.
Jackie Robinson Day throughout Major League Baseball. The Rays and the Jays getting ready to wrap up a 3-game series from the Rogers Center. Playing game 3 of this 4-game series from the Rogers Center. Rays have won the first 2 of this 4-game set. You know, in our Geico Great Moments in History, it was on this date 68 years ago that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball. April 15, 1947, with the Brooklyn Dodgers wearing that iconic number 42. And today, every Major League player in uniform wears the number 42. It has become such an international game, and Robinson was the catalyst to include all races into Major League Baseball. We caught up with Chris Archer, who talked about the impact not only on the major leagues of Jackie, but also on his civil rights movement.
He was a special person who could withstand everything that you had to. But the civil rights movement and how active he was in that, I think gets overshadowed because sports people put more into sports than they do in the real social issues. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm grateful for that the most today.
The Jays are on the field. We're ready for baseball. Time to go upstairs to Dwayne and BA.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. You see Brandon Geyer about to step in there. We take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Geyer, then Souza Jr. and Cabrera. Longoria, Jennings at DH tonight in front of Forsythe. Kiermaier, Rivera, and Beckham to round out the lineup put together by Kevin Cash. Mark Burley on the hill, and the first pitch of this game, a cut to miss. We are underway. First pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny. 36-year-old left-hander Mark Burley. This ball headed to short. Reyes with the pickup, and that's the first out of the night.
Our Toyota trend, Mark Burley against the Rays. You'll see 6 starts. He saw them in every series of the 2014 season. Had a perfect 2-0 record, ERA 2.66. He was befuddling to this ball club last year. They'll hope to solve him here tonight.
Yeah, he pitched a game against the Rays in early April last year at the Trop with 11 strikeouts. One of his high strikeout games of his career. He's had some outstanding performances against the Rays, including that perfect game at 09 in Chicago. 1 strike to count to Steven Souza Jr. Burley all set to go. Souza had gotten time granted by Jeff Nelson.
Well, the philosophy of Mark Burley is work quick, throw slow, and win. Interesting and effective.
It's a strike on the inside corner. Well, he doesn't give hitters much time to think about what's coming next or what the approach should be, because he's ready.
But
although with advancing age, he is slowing down, you know. Well, last year he averaged 1 second more between pitches than what he has over his career. His career is 16.8 seconds between pitches. And he strikes out Souza Jr. there. And last year he was 17.3 seconds between pitches.
Still led Major League Baseball.
Yes,
though.
he did.
That's still impressive. Let's take a look at the defense that's going to line up behind him. In the outfield, left to right, we have Kevin Pillar, Dalton Pompey, and Jose Bautista. Across the infield, third to first, Donaldson, Reyes, Travis, and Smoke. Deanna Navarro will be behind the plate. Don't have a whole lot of time to fit that defense in with Burley on the mound.
Or anything else for that matter. As Drupal Cabrera takes a pitch outside, it's 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. Skied to center. Pompey back angling to his left. And the Rays are up and down. 1, 2, 3. Bottom of the first coming up. No score. Tonight's lineup for the Blue Jays, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. A little different tonight for John Gibbons. Jose Reyes leads it off, followed by Josh Donaldson up in the number 2 spot in front of Bautista, and then Edwin Encarnacion. Deanna Navarro does the catching. Smoke at first, Pilar, Pompey, and Travis, 7, 8, and 9 hitters.
Taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Erasmo Ramirez. One career start against the Blue Jays back in 2012, and pretty effective.
And here's a bunt by Reyes. Rivera with the pickup and the throw to first. And boy, Rivera continues to show an uncanny ability to get out from back of that plate quickly.
Yeah, you know, when that ball left the bat of Jose Reyes, you're thinking that was far enough out in front of the plate that he's probably going to beat that out. But Rene Rivera and his hop, and look at how he threw that all in one motion. I mean, tremendous defender, and that is not an easy play to make.
So not only did he throw out more base runners than any other National League catcher last year in San Diego, but we've seen him make plays like that. Boy, what a contribution it is to have a guy behind the plate with that ability. And here is Josh Donaldson. Takes the pitch upstairs. Donaldson, the big addition to this Blue Jays lineup this year. Big in more ways than one. Big bat, outstanding defensive player, very aggressive. And he'll lead the charge in his approach to playing the game.
It sets a great example. All the young players.
Into the seats, foul.
Well, let's take a look at our scouting report on Erasmo Ramirez. Regained the swagger. You remember when he came over in the trade, his last spring training outing, first spring training outing with the Rays, how good he was. You want to get back to that, and by doing that, you've got to get back in the zone. Too much nibbling last time out, too many bad counts, too many hittable pitches ultimately for the opposition. And fond memories, we already referenced that. The one start that he made against the Blue Jays was in this building, 7 strong, picking up a win.
Ground ball through the right side against the shift. Beckham was on the shortstop side at second, leaving that right side open, and Donaldson found it.
Well, and Josh Donaldson, interestingly enough, moved up to the 2-hole. He's got a wide open gap here to work with. And in that second spot in the lineup, he takes full advantage, pokes it through, and gets a base runner in front of Bautista and Encarnacion. And I think that's one of the things that John Gibbons was looking for. Too much of a lull at the beginning of the order for him the first 2 games of this series. So he gets Donaldson up there in front of the big bashers.
There's Jose Bautista. It sweeps low and outside, 1-0. Donaldson's an interesting hitter. They have the shift on for Bautista here, and they had the shift on for Donaldson. He showed in the first game of this series an ability to try to go against that shift. He hit 2 or 3 balls to the right side in that game, pulled everything last night, and if he lets it out, he's likely to hit it a long way to left. But he went the other way first time up tonight.
And you know, he's got power from gap to gap. And a smart hitter. You know, situation calls for a base runner, he'll take it, just like you just saw. Let's take a quick look at that Rays defense as it lines up tonight behind Ramirez. In the outfield, we've got Brandon Guyer in left, then Kevin Kiermaier and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria as Drupal Cabrera. Tim Beckham gets the start at second, Logan Forsythe at first. And, of course, we've already seen him in action, Rene Rivera behind the plate.
Kevin Cash has the Rays off to a 5-3 start. Starting tonight, just a half game behind Boston. The Red Sox were beaten earlier. A little bit wide, and it's 3-1.
This is where Erasmo Ramirez can get into some trouble. You understand Jose Bautista is aggressive. You want to make good pitches to him. But the tendency to nibble puts you in counts like this.
And a high shot back into deep left. Guyer will run out of room, and this one is gone. Bautista hits his second home run of the year. And the Blue Jays take an early lead.
Well, this was the story in Erasmo Ramirez's last outing for the Rays in Miami. Nibbling early, falling behind, then having to come out over the plate and getting hurt. And that's exactly what happened there with Bautista on the 3-1 heater.
Cut to miss there on the change. Strike one. We saw him in that exhibition game at the Trop against Detroit. You know, Victor Martinez hit the ball out against him, and then he settled in and almost just seemed as if he put that out of his mind and pitched great the rest of the way.
He did. He threw a lot of strikes. He pitched, you know, ahead in the count. That allows him then to sweep that slider off the plate and let the changeup go to work.
And he comes right back and gets Encarnacion on 3 pitches. A call, 3rd strike.
Here's the delivery here to Bautista, trying to go away, but the problem is it's 3-1, and you're trying to throw a strike, and that ball just leaked back out over the middle of the plate. Jose Bautista's not going to miss too many of those. Good job on Encarnacion coming back and getting him by pitching backwards. Change up, fastball, picking up the strikeout.
Here's Deoner Navarro. Strike starts him with a fastball. Tap right side, and Ramirez makes the play unassisted. 2 runs on the home run by Bautista. 2-0 Blue Jays.
Jose Bautista 2-run home run in addition to Jackie Robinson Day. It also coincides with a Web Wednesday. You can ask Dwayne and BA your questions by tweeting them to @SunSportsRays with a hashtag AskRays, or email your questions to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. And guys, we already have a question queued up for you. With the new pace of play rules in Major League Baseball, is that even more of an advantage for Mark Buehrle now that players cannot step out of the box unless they swing? Back to you.
Well, you can see the Rays already in that first inning trying to set a pace themselves. There's a base hit up the middle for Longoria. You know, they keep that 1 foot in the box, but that doesn't mean that they have to be in there ready to hit. It makes it more difficult for them to be out of the box and wander around aimlessly.
Right.
So they can still, to a measure, fight that rapid pace that a guy like Buehrle sets. Just not as long. Longoria aboard with a base hit. Desmond Jennings trying to push that one down and fouls it. Strike one. GMC big matchup here. The Rays Desmond Jennings against Mark Burley. 9 of 22, hitting .409 with a double. Longoria at first. Jennings takes it inside, and the count is 1-1. BA, when you pitched, did you try to use your pace to gain an advantage over a hitter?
You know what? Not so much really to gain an advantage over a hitter as much as it was comfortable for me. If that gave me an advantage, great. I just like to work quickly because what am I standing out there around for? I know I've got a game plan. I throw a pitch. I see the reaction. I know what I want to go with next. Why am I going to debate myself? Get back up there and let's go.
You know, it's interesting. There's a theory. Jennings taps it to Donaldson out at second. Safe at first. 5-4 on the force play down at second, and Jennings reaches on the fielder's choice. You know, there's a theory, and the Rays certainly played the longest games in captivity last year. I think, 319 was their average. A theory that Joe Madden tried to slow the game down with, number one, a lot of young players. So we always hear about the game speeding up when you get to the big leagues, and it does in more ways than one. It does physically, but just the experience itself. An interesting theory, and one that I can understand people entertaining, but I just wonder about that. When you came up as a young pitcher, did the game speed up that much on you? Did you even think about it?
Didn't even think about it, but it has a tendency to. You know, if you
Forsythe dropping one into center in front of Travis, and a throw to second, and they're going to get the force.
Wow.
Well, Forsythe dropped it in front of Pompey out there, and Jennings forced it second. He had to hold to see if that ball would be caught in shallow center.
And as that ball bounced, Desmond actually was leaning and took a step back towards first base. And that is what got him into no man's land. Right there, it said that. Now he's got to try to regain. And it's awfully close.
See Reyes over there to take the throw from Pompey. And the Rays, I think, want to take a look at this and see on that play at second base.
Now this would be a runner in scoring position, and Kevin Cash popped out of that dugout immediately. Just a few steps awaiting word from upstairs, and Chico what to do.
So this is tonight's replay challenge, brought to you by Chrysler. So the Rays challenge on the call at second base.
And a little extra step and a half back. And then here's the play. Oh boy, I don't know. You could see this, and from that angle right there, inconclusive.
They need clear and convincing, and the Rays were hurt by that the last time they challenged a call.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I don't see anything clear and convincing that would overturn the call on the field.
Not based on the criteria set last night.
No, not at all. Because that looked to be pretty clear and convincing to us. And yet it was safe. Or excuse me, out on second base.
Good look right there.
Yeah. But you lose sight of that ball going into the glove, and then right here, you're starting to kick up dirt. When does the foot hit the bag? The ball's in the back of the glove. I just don't see that you can see enough to overturn that. But that's okay, because we were wrong last night. I'll be wrong tonight.
Sure.
That'd be good.
Well, it's a difference between having a man in scoring position, 2 men on, with only 1 out, and a guy at first with 2 outs.
Yeah,
well, difference.
And that's precisely the reason why, in this instance, the Rays decide to challenge. Fight for every scoring opportunity that they can get.
Taking a little longer here to make a determination. And it's really hard to read anything into that.
Well, it's like a verdict where the jury's deliberating. The longer they go, does that help your case, do you think, or not so much? This is a little lengthy, though. A lot quicker than I think Major League Baseball would like.
Well, maybe they're taking a look at another one from some other game, waiting to get to this one.
They're on hold.
Yeah, here we go. Apparently, they're going to call him out at second base. So it's going to be a fielder's choice for Forsythe. He loses a hit. And so it stands, again, lacking clear and convincing evidence to overturn it. So it stands. Look at that. Two outs. Here's Kevin Kiermaier with Forsythe, the runner at first. Here's another thing. You don't run on Burley either. He gave up one steal last year. That was really sort of a fluke.
It was a delayed steal.
Yep.
And there were 4 stolen base attempts total against him. 3 of them were pickoffs that he caused, pickoff caught stealing, and then 1 stolen base, and that was on a delayed steal. So no straight steals against Mark Burley last year. Remarkable, lefty or not.
Yeah, Javier Baez of the Cubs stole third on that delay. Ground ball, shaded in the hole. Travis makes the pickup. Kiermaier is out, and so are the Rays. They lead 1 and trail by 2. Tampa Bay Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Available exclusively at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. Justin Smoak will open the bottom of the second against Erasmo Ramirez. Tagged for a 2-run homer by Bautista in the first. Pitch is low. Rays put the shift on from Smoak, hitting left-handed against the right-hander. One and one. A strike now, 1 and 2. The Rays flip-flop, putting Longoria on the first base side of second and Cabrera back to the shortstop side. That's getting pretty technical with your shifts. 2-2 count. Full count. It's Kevin Pillar on deck. walk. Smoked the leadoff man. Heads to first. Don't miss the AL East showdown when the Rays battle the Yankees on Saturday, April 18th. You'll bend over backwards for an Alex Cobb Gumby. Available to all fans while supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Kevin Cash looking on. Well, you hate to see a leadoff walk, particularly in a game when you're already down by 2. Here's Kevin Pillar. Rolling to the right side, and that's going to go for a base hit. They had him shaded, a drastic shade toward the middle for Beckham, and Pillar took it the other way.
You know, Pillar has now gotten 3 through the shift. 1 up the middle, 2 the other way. Those 1 up the middle and 1 the other way was last night's ball game, and then here he gets a base hit the other way. That's the one thing that has hurt Erasmo Ramirez. You're talking about the leadoff walk. That was also coming after a 1-2 count.
Yep.
And that's the one thing about Erasmo's game. His 3 seasons in the big leagues where he's had, thrown up some significant opportunities, innings, starts, the walk rate has continued to climb. Not the trend that you would like to see.
Pompey starts to show the bunt. Takes the pitch for a ball. Yeah, if you look at his numbers, you're absolutely right about that. When he first came up with the Mariners, they liked what they saw. And when you looked at his work in the minor leagues, you said, sure. He just followed that trend and continued it. But then he hit a spot where, and always a determination, I guess, to make here. If a guy actually just has trouble with his control, or if he's not as confident in his other stuff as maybe he was before. And here's the thing to remember about him. He's still a young pitcher. They traded him. The Mariners did. They traded him for Mike Montgomery. Well, Ramirez is a full year younger than Montgomery. And he didn't have any options left, so the general impression is, well, the Rays sent a young pitcher for him. He's actually younger than Montgomery. And he's shown good arm. There's a good bunt, and it's just going to stop. Well, the Rays are out here opening night of this series trying to test this turf. It's very slow, trying to figure out how the ball rolls, and what it does, it rolls to a stop.
And that's exactly it. This ball just died as if it was tall grass. I mean, you let it go, that just quit rolling. And you talked about a slow infield, and this really highlights just how slow it is. The bunt came to a stop rather quickly here after Evan decides he's going to let it go, see if it rolls foul. It doesn't even roll enough to go foul at that point. It just dead straight stop. Now that's something, too, that we're hearing whispers that it's being monitored, the turf here, by Major League Baseball.
The pitch to Devon Travis. 1 ball, no strikes. So the question with Ramirez is it a confidence factor with the rest of his stuff that causes him to be too cautious and try to nibble? Or is he just having trouble throwing strikes? Right now he's behind 2-0.
Well, he's had parts of 3 seasons in the major leagues, and you do wonder that, because when you see a walk rate go up like that, you wonder if he's given the hitters too much credit and he's trying to be too perfect early in the count and then falling behind. Well, once you fall behind, you saw what happens with Jose Bautista. Or it's just, not able to throw strikes. I don't look at Erasmo Ramirez and say this guy's incapable of throwing strikes. I get the feeling that it's just trying to be too perfect early. Trying to make the perfect 0-2 type pitch on pitch number 1.
Yep.
Then just challenging, the outer half, the inner half of the strike zone and expanding from there. And I think that if the Rays can get him back into that style of pitching, you'll see the numbers start to reflect that. Because that's how he pitched in that spring training game, from the inside out, and had a ton of success.
And he comes back with the change and strikes out Travis for the first out. Well, one thing. When the Rays made this deal, they just didn't blindly make a deal. I mean, they've evaluated the same kinds of things we're talking about now, and they think it's worth at least the opportunity to see if they can't fix that about him and have him be a productive pitcher. Here's Reyes, a little tap third base side, and a bare hand attempt. That's going to go as a base hit. Well, Longoria, knowing how slow this is, knew that there was no chance that was going to go foul. Smoke scores. It's 3-0. And the leadoff walk will cost Ramirez and the Rays a run.
Yeah, and really the only play that Evan Longoria had on that was to come home with it. The do-or-die bare hand and try to flip it over top of Justin Smoak. Not going to get Reyes here going up the line. Going to try for Smoak and just couldn't come up with a clean. This ball right off the end of the bat.
What a play this would have been had he made it, because look where Smoak is. If he makes the pickup, now he's got to make a throw to the plate, completely screened out by the runner.
Almost had to throw around him. You know, you needed Rivera like at home plate off.
And here is Donaldson hitting one deep down the line, and that ball is foul. Donaldson jumping on that first pitch, just missed clearing the bases. That ball just hooking foul.
Well, Josh Donaldson in his last at bat with nobody on, content to go the other way. Now with the bases loaded, he tries to jump on a hanging changeup, and he just missed a 4-pointer.
Well, the difference between a 3-0 game and a 7-0 game, just a few feet. Takes a strike here. Fastball 0-2. A run home. Pilar's at third now. Pompey at second, and Reyes at first. Well, you think about what that opening walk sets up. Pilar hit the ball the other way against the shift. Then Pompey with a bunt single, and 1 out later, Reyes with a little scratch hit up the third baseline. And now you're fighting for your life here with the bases loaded. And a big cut by Donaldson. 1-2. Well, you could see how Gibbons would love to have Donaldson in the number 2 spot. He hit Bautista up there a lot last year, and you think, well, that's a little unorthodox, but boy, these guys, you get them up there early and often.
And we've seen the two different approaches from Donaldson too. You know, 1 out, nobody on in the first inning, takes a pitch the other way and just takes it the other way for a base hit. Get on in front of Bautista and Encarnacion. Comes up this time, bases are loaded, thinking about driving in some runs now, something that he's very proficient at. And now he looks to turn and burn and hit something hard, and just missed a grand slam. Anything to jumpstart this offense, because it's been stagnant here the last few games for the Blue Jays.
That's up the middle. Pilar scores. Pompey crosses the plate. Reyes winds up at third. 2 RBIs for Donaldson. And it's 5-0.
Well, and this will do nothing to help the confidence of Erasmo Ramirez, coming off of a tough outing in Miami. And then right here, back into trouble. Donaldson finds the hole in the middle of the field, and 2 more Blue Jays come home to score. Jim Hickey to the mound.
A walk, 4 hits, strikeout in the mix. A 3-run inning. And with men at first and third, the Blue Jays will get down into the middle of the order with Jose Bautista due up. And he's the guy who hit the 2-run home run in the first inning. A towering shot.
Yep. 3-1. Center cut.
Breaking ball low and away. One and one. Ball in on him, running in as he fought it off to foul it. First three men reached, they've all scored. There's a cut and a miss. So he gets a strikeout of Jose Bautista. Got him to chase that pitch as it dropped down.
That's the difference in Ramirez. When ahead, when behind, what he can do. You know, he's got a good changeup, good arm action on that pitch, good finish on that pitch. You see it here when he really finishes it. That late life at the end, taking it down towards the turf. But the problem is the effectiveness of that pitch is nullified if you're always 2-0.
1-0 to Edwin Encarnacion, the eighth man to come to the plate for the Blue Jays, who built a 5-0 lead. Line to the left, caught by Geyer, down to a knee to find it out of the lights. Through two, 5-0 Toronto. Lead, you'll flip over the limited edition Rays tumbler you get when you buy a Rays Flex Pack starting at just $59. Get yours at RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Rene Rivera after the first pitch, lofting it right side. Travis, the second baseman, in short right field, had to adjust right there, come back a little bit, one away.
Yeah, you'd like to tell this Rays lineup to be patient with Mark Burley, but you can hardly do that. He works quickly, he throws strikes, you've got to be ready to hit, but he pitches under hitting speed.
Yes, he does. And it's a bunt attempt, barehanded by Donaldson, safe. Whoa. What an attempt by Donaldson there, and he almost got Beckham, who bunts his way on. So Donaldson, last year, pretty much acclaimed as the best third baseman in the American League. And he almost got Beckham on that bunt attempt.
Well, what hurt him was on the bunt. It actually just bounced straight up. And all of his momentum from charging that bunt was gone after he barehanded. So he was almost throwing off 1 foot flat-footed. Makes for a much more difficult throw, and Beckham was just able to beat it out.
Geyer taking the pitch outside. Geyer starting in left, grounded to short his first time. Rays come in with a 4-game winning streak, winning 5 of their last 6, and playing catch up early tonight.
You know, from what we've seen of this turf, even just at the beginning of this ball game here, anybody that can bunt and has any type of speed, you're going to have to start hovering your corner infielders around the home plate circle. The ball just doesn't go anywhere.
Two and one. Burley's fastball, his average count on the fastball is just under 84 miles per hour. When you talk about throwing below hitting speed, 83.9. He throws that about half the time.
That was Miguel Castro last night. His pitch outs were 84, 85.
That's exactly right. 2-2. 13-game winner last year for Burley, 13-10. And 14 consecutive years of at least 200 innings pitched.
And double-digit wins. 14 straight years. 463rd major league start. Has never been on the disabled list.
You know, that strikeout spread and the walks, because he's 60 walks or so, I think all during that time, 61 or fewer walks. And you see right there what he's done. The only guy who's put together that kind of workload and that kind of control with so few walks was Cy Young in a stretch like that from 1897 to 1909.
That he's got the award named after him.
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty good.
That's great company for anybody. How about that?
Could you imagine? They flipped spots in history, and now everybody's shooting for the Mark Burley Award.
One on, one out. And ball 4. So there's a walk. Bunt and a walk. The Rays have 2 men on with Steven Souza Jr. headed to the plate. In the game tonight and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, you never know. You get a little pop in that batter's box and one swing of the bat, and it's a brand new evening.
Yeah, before anybody thinks about even remotely turning away from this game, remember how resilient this Rays lineup has been. There's been a number of games where they've fallen behind early and come back. How about this guy's night last night? Been waiting for this all season long, all week and a half.
Yeah, they said that went about 463 or so. A lot of arguments that it was longer than that.
Yeah, 460. I just would love to see how they figure that out, because you start to look at center field here, 400 feet, where that ball hit, and then say that, you know, they figured that ball was only going to land pitcher's mound to home plate further than that fence.
Yeah, you have to think it was more than 463.
Oh yeah.
It's 1 and 2.
Yeah, if that back wall's not out there,
Well, they estimated when we talked about Jim Thome back in the 90s hit one out there. They estimated that at 483. That's a little more like it.
Yeah, I could live with 483, 490. 5 Bills.
2-2 now.
You know what it is? It just goes back to being a rookie. You always get the short end of the stick as a rookie.
No respect.
Right. Well, and Jim Thome, beloved figure around the game, future Hall of Famer. They tack on 20 with him.
Shot to center field. Pompey will go back, and this one will be caught a couple of steps in front of the track. And the Rays runners will hold. Beckham went back and decided to hang on. Geyer was ready to advance.
Yep.
Found himself then stuck at first.
And you have a problem when you've got your guy on first base that is willing to advance to second, which would be the shorter throw. The guy on second not running to third when no way they're going to be able to get you as deep as that fly ball was hit. And so I think Geyer got halfway there and realized, uh-oh, he's still there, and a little surprised.
Yeah, an opportunity missed there to move up. You put 2 men in scoring position there. A little misjudgment on the bases, but could be a big factor as you try to play catch up now. Then you've got 2 guys in scoring position, a base hit, you got a couple runs, and it's a brand new game.
And no question about it. And the Rays offensively are going to have to do the little things and do the little things right to maximize their potential. That was a missed opportunity.
2-0. That time Beckham bluffing a start away from second. He knows.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, he knows he missed an opportunity, and the backside of that is be careful.
Yeah. That's the
ground ball left side. Reyes takes it to second and gets it there in time. The Rays lead 2. We got to the bottom of the third. 5-0. Bottom half of inning 3 in Toronto. Our T-Mobile game changer as we observe the 68th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier by playing first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers in that game. Went on to be Rookie of the Year. 2 years later, the MVP in the National League and voted to the Hall of Fame in 1962. Passed away at the age of 53 in 1972. But his legacy lives on, and boy, does it ever. Here's Deoner Navarro taking a pitch for a ball, 1-0. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Ramirez touch for 5 runs. Navarro fouls this one back. 6 hits allowed. He had made 45 pitches through 2. And you're right about this Rays offense. We've seen it fall behind before this year and then come back. That's one thing that's going to be interesting about this lineup. You know, it's not a perfect team, and they make a mistake here or there, but it's hard to find a perfect team. But what we've seen out of this lineup is I think they have shown better at bats already through the first 8 games of the year, and a better ability to battle back than we've seen recently out of a Rays lineup.
Well, the Rays
work the count well.
They lead Major League Baseball in pitches per plate appearance.
Well, there you are.
Second in walks.
Navarro walks. The leadoff man on for the Blue Jays in the 3rd. Speaking of leadoff men, let's check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, at the Renaissance Hotel here above the Rogers Center outfield wall, Kip and Deb Kadersha are enjoying a little Rays baseball. Season ticket holders from the St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay area. And we'll talk about a promotion first of all in just a minute. But how's the week going for you?
Oh, this is a great experience, just being inside the stadium and having our room inside the stadium. This is probably our best experience we've had watching a Major League game.
They're trying to see all 30 stadiums, guys, in the major leagues. And what number are we on now?
This is midway. We're at number 15.
You've flown the TB banner with pride?
We took the 3x5 flag down in front of the house and decided to bring it with us today, this week. So.
And Deb, you get the full baseball experience, including the cleanup crew after the games, right?
You do. You get to hear and see everyone cleaning up for hours on end after the games.
Those big vacuums that clean up the field from those sunflower seeds after the games make the noise a little bit up here in the room, and they notice that they pounded the mound for 4 hours prior to opening day. Guys, we do have a promotion to tell you about here. It is coming up on Friday, Girls Night Out. I'll try and hold this outside the window without dropping it. Girls Night Out, it will be this cross-body bag given out to ladies on Friday when the Yankees are in town, so make sure you go to RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. And Deb, I know you're a season ticket holder, you'll probably be there, but for having us use your room, you can have the first one here. That'll be given out Friday night when the Rays are taking on the Yankees to open up the homestand. So enjoy the trip. Thank you very much. And we need a little rally here for a comeback.
Come on, Rays, let's do it. Let's get it going.
Rally caps now.
All right, guys, back to you.
Hey, Todd, thank you. And Todd never surprises us where we might find him.
No, and he always finds his way into somebody's hotel room when we come here. Do you think, and we just saw it in action, do you think it's because Todd enters that hotel room with the promises of goods and services?
Well, there's a ground ball. Navarro off and running, advances. So that's the first out. Todd's very persuasive just by nature.
Does he stay for a nightcap?
People trust him.
They also would trust Landshark and get you too.
Look at that, see? Little photo op.
Just the beginning.
That's it. And he's got that parade wave down too. Runner at second, 1 out. Kevin Pillar. 1 strike to count on him. Rays pretty much straight up this time with Pilar. And a ground ball that skips beneath the glove of Longoria up the line. Navarro's going to head to the plate. Pilar heads to second, and everybody's safe. Pilar 2 for 2. Doubles home Navarro. 6-0 Toronto.
An awful lot of talk about the turf being slow. This was a rocket shot. Up and in, kind of floated, and he just pounds it, able to get it right by Evan, trying to backhand that ball. Not able to do so. And that's another run for the Blue Jays, and then Geyer with Pilar running to second. He's thinking about maybe going home, and Pilar able to sneak into second base.
Here's Pompey cutting the miss. Well, we've seen Pilar hit the ball to all fields in this series. A couple times to right, once to center, and he pulled that ball down the left field line. 2 strikes now on Pompey. He got to that pitch quickly to get it past Longoria and hit it hard. Strike 3 call. Pompey caught looking for the second out. Look at Todd. Yeah, things could get out of control.
Things are getting weird.
Yes,
up there.
It was like hardly any left. We have been here for 5 games.
I mean, it was the gift, the group hug. Now it's the bubbly.
Big smile. I was thinking you might want to keep us posted, but I'm not sure. 1-0 the count on Devon Travis. Fly ball toward the line and right. Souza on the move. That ball's going to be out of play. The count goes to 1-1. A 1-1 count on Travis. Pitch is wide. Travis out of Florida. Moves on the east coast of Florida. Went to Palm Beach Central High School. Went to Florida State. As we mentioned last night, during the game, played in the Little League World Series for the East Boynton Beach team. And the Blue Jays got him from the Tigers. He was highly regarded in the Tigers system. Shoots it toward right center. He's showing some pop there and off the wall. Pilar scores on the Travis double. And the Blue Jays now have built a 7-run lead.
I'll tell you what, there was a charge put into that ball by Travis, hitting out of the 9-hole and going the other way with authority. Boy, stayed back on that ball nicely and just shows you the kind of pop that he has high off the wall out in right center field.
You know, I watched Pilar turn on that ball inside. We saw Travis in batting practice work on that as well. And that time, great power the other way into right center. And he, along with Pilar, a couple hitters, and they both worked on this. And Pilar coming out of spring training, dropping the hands a little bit to get to that inside pitch quicker. And both have shown that ability. And boy, if they get these two guys down in the lineup to hit with what they've got ahead of them, I mean, this could be a really dangerous lineup. Now 3-0 to Jose Reyes.
I think that's why the moves that were made by the Blue Jays this offseason were made. I think that they feel the American League East is vulnerable. So you think Donaldson, Martin, you got some young kids coming up in the pitching staff and in the lineup. And you're right. If you can start getting contributions 7, 8, 9 to go along with what the top can be if everybody stays healthy, then you've got a chance for a lineup that is just wears on a pitcher.
Hopper short left. Cabrera out. He's going to make the catch in front of Geyer. Couple more runs scored for the Blue Jays, and they have a 7-0 lead. Saturday MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns with back-to-back American League East showdowns. The Orioles take on the Red Sox, followed by the Yankees taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on America's home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And let's go. First pitch here in the 4th inning underway. Longoria up here 1-0. Not only is Mark Burley a quick worker while he's out there, but between innings he's out there and ready to go.
Well, they want those pitchers in that ready position, and Mark Burley, he'll beat the clock.
He's waiting on the clock to run out.
Yeah, that's right. You see a lot of guys trying to rush to make sure that they're on time. Burley's still waiting. No, it's just the way that he goes. You watch him warming up to come into the game down in the bullpen. He just rapid fires his tosses down there as he gets ready for a game.
That's a strike. A full count on Longoria. And strike 3 call on the inside edge. Evan trying to draw the walk, and it's called out on strike.
Well, perfectly placed fastball here. You got Evan looking out over the plate, and Burley, not too often that you're going to freeze a hitter, especially a hitter like Evan Longoria with an 83-mile-an-hour fastball in, and that's just what happened.
Desmond Jennings bouncing it down to third, and Donaldson with a great play, but he throws it away. Well, that was a great stop, and from his knees to throw. Jennings is aboard with a base hit. That's one of the reasons, and we touched on it last night, that Donaldson is such a great third baseman, but he made 23 errors last year, 17 on throws, and he had such great range.
Yeah, he does have for, a third baseman, it's hard to quantify range. The ball gets down to you so quick, but you can do that with him, and he can move. The throws here, you can understand. I mean, he's on one knee trying to make a very degree of difficult throw, a little bit wide.
So that goes as a base hit, but you can understand even a guy with a high error total, how he can be considered the best third baseman in the league.
Like you said last night, he gets to more balls.
Yep.
More chances.
1-1 the count on Logan Forsythe. So a base hit for Jennings. Rays have 3 hits.
The other thing you got to take into account when you talk about his range, if he's getting to balls that a lot of third basemen wouldn't get to, guess what? He's throwing from a lot of odd angles too.
Yep.
And that's what will lead to some of those extra bases, and you can discount them.
That's a fair ball down the line, knocked down, and the throw to first, not in time. But boy, he's a scrambler down there. He's going to make a play on you. A couple of hits here for the Rays. But Donaldson's doing everything he can to prevent them from being hits.
Well, the one thing that he's got to do is you want to be smart too. That play right there, you understand he didn't make the play before, probably thought that he could have. That's going to be a difficult play too, but once he didn't come up with it clean, forcing that throw, there's no way you're getting Forsythe. No way. If you field this cleanly, you got a chance. Once that happens, you just eat it. And instead, he jumps up and almost airmailed Smoke.
Kiermaier takes it for strike one. Kevin Kiermaier grounded out to second his first time. One and one. We had a couple of close ones here in the first 2 games. Monday night, Rays won 2-1. They won 3-2 last night. Trying to find their way back into this game. Kiermaier leading the American League in extra base hits. Look who's tied for second, Sam Fole. Fole getting more playing time at Oakland with Coco Crisp out.
Similar player to Kevin Kiermaier in the sense that they're all out all the time, offensively and defensively.
Back to the mound, and Burley wide throw, safe at second, and everybody is safe there, and you don't see that very often from Burley.
No, and you know what? I'm thinking that Mark Burley's his mindset out there is, I want a double play here. I'm going for a double play. I know I've got Kiermaier running. I'm going to have to hurry this throw to second base. He gets the chopper and then turns and hurries that throw, and just was never able to step into it as he's stepping up the slope of the mound, and the ball sailed on him.
Well, he's a Gold Glove winner out there on the mound, and you very seldom see that, but I think you're right. He's a hurry-up guy for hitters to deal with, and he was guilty of that himself right there on that throw back to second. He tried to hurry it up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all Kevin Kiermaier and his effort up the line. He knows that if he's going to get him, it doesn't help, too, that you're throwing uphill.
In fact, Burley is the only pitcher in baseball history to have thrown multiple no-hitters and earned more than one Gold Glove. It's a foul ball off Rivera's foot, 0-2. So Burley ahead of Rivera. Early in 09. Had that perfect game against the Rays and won a Gold Glove. Bob Gibson in 71 threw a no-hitter and was a Gold Glove winner. Did he go? He did not on a pitch in. It's 1-2. Well, the Rays have had some base runners trying to get on the board and see if they can cut into this deficit. You want to take advantage of some opportunities here. Base is loaded with one out. Rays falling behind early. Blue Jays put up 2 in the first, 3 in the second, and 2 more in the third. Rivera hanging in there. Rene Rivera now 0 for 7 in his career against Burley, including the pop to second tonight. Too wide. 2-2.
No chase here. Rene Rivera, that's so close. That ball coming back towards the outside corner. A little too far for Rivera to offer.
Sharply hit, grabbed by Reyes. Out at second and out at first. And the Blue Jays get the inning-ending double play. The Rays do not score, leaving 2. Set Toronto. Baseball on Sun Sports, brought to you by Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. By Sea-Doo Spark, the most affordable watercraft on the water, starting at only $49.99 or as low as $79 a month. And by Sony, brought to you by Paul Bart. Mall Cop 2, starring Kevin James, in theaters April 17th. From Toronto tonight, third game of the 4-game series. It's been all Blue Jays. They'll have Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista, and Edwin Encarnacion. 3 big bats up here in the home half of the 4th. Donaldson 2 for 2 already tonight, with a run scored and 2 runs batted in. '98 runs batted in last year for Oakland with 29 home runs. Rays get the lefty. Elbow up in the bullpen. Sharply hit and skips beneath the glove of Cabrera. Geyer returns it. Cabrera will be charged with an error.
Well, that was an absolute rocket shot, and Cabrera kind of caught in between there. Not much you can do. As hard as that ball was hit, you're trying to make a do-or-die type of scoop on a ball that had some hair on it.
Now Jose Bautista. 1 ball, no strikes. Bautista opened the scoring with his 2nd home run of the year in the 1st inning. Takes a strike, 1-1. Two and one elsewhere earlier. The Angels beat the Rangers 10-2. Nationals beat the Red Sox 10-5. Marlins beat the Braves 4-2. Indians over the White Sox 4-2. And here in Toronto, the Blue Jays with the big lead in the early stages. Now in the bottom of the 4th, 7-0 here. Full count. Runner goes and the pitch foul, a roller the other way. Now the Rays taking the first 2 games to extend their record to 5-3. That matches the best record that the Rays have had this deep in. Outside of third, foul. They were 5-3 in 2010. They played some entertaining and some smart baseball, and they have shown themselves that they're willing to grind it out as well. Upstairs, Soler and a walk, and again trouble for the Rays here. Reminder, Rays fans, every Thursday is Throwback Rays Day, brought to you by Jeep. Tune in this Thursday. Date and post the best Rays vintage photo of yourself by using the hashtag #ThrowbackRays. We'll select the best photo and feature it in the postgame show. Edwin Encarnacion takes ball 1. And the strike pops out of the mitt of Rivera. Encarnacion asking Jeff Nelson about that.
I think Rene Rivera going out here to make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as what the signs are too, with the runner out at second base. I think that ball popped out because Rivera expecting something a little bit different here. Absolutely.
And the other thing about tonight, Rivera has set up on one side of the plate and the pitches come on the other side of the plate more than a couple times.
No. Well, you know, Ramirez has that, he wants to get that arm angle out away from him, you know, that low 3/4 look to try to get extra movement on his pitches. But boy, oh boy, if your release point is off just a little bit out on the mound becomes a lot once that pitch gets to home plate. And you're right, there have been some wide misses.
That's ball 2. Third time up already for Encarnacion, their cleanup man. We're only in the fourth. And a full count. It's Deanna Navarro, the former Ray. He's on deck. Rays have Jeff Beliveau on the mound in the bullpen. To 90 pitches for Ramirez. He threw 50 in his last outing. And a shallow right. Souza Jr. coming in, and he's got it. That'll be out number one. Not too deep and a lot of hang time. And so with Deanna Navarro due up, Kevin Cash heads to the mound to make the pitching change. We'll be back in a moment. Showdown presented by your local Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. The new pitcher for the Rays, and what here in the early stages, moving into the middle of the game, has been a lopsided affair. Blue Jays jumping to a 7-0 lead, and now Jeff Beliveau will inherit 2 runners and take over with 1 out in the fourth.
Well, back-to-back nights that the Rays bullpen is going to be called on to log a heavy workload. Jeff Beliveau, first man up, on for the 5th time. Last night's ball game, Matt Andriese, for obvious reasons, only able to get 3 2/3. Hadn't had a whole lot of work in the prior 2 weeks. And so the bullpen out for 5 1/3, and a rough night for Erasmo Ramirez, 3 1/3, 8 hits, 7 earned. And he's still got a couple of men out there.
Navarro from the right side, facing Beliveau. Deanna walked to open the third and scored the first of 2 runs for the Blue Jays in that inning. That's a strike, and it gets away from Rivera, and the runners will advance.
That looked like a cross-up right there, too. Rivera either not seeing that pitch from Jeff Beliveau, or they were not on the same page. I think Rivera, expecting something soft, gets the fastball and just did not react in time. That was a definite cross-up.
Goes as a pass ball. foul out of play, and the count is 0-2. You know, a pitch like that gets away from the catcher, the question is, it's a strike. How difficult is that for an umpire to call a strike? But his focus is out in front.
Yeah.
It's not whether the catcher receives the ball or not. He's going to call that ball before that ever happens. Two popped up. Forsythe into foul territory. 2 gone.
But certainly for his safety, he would prefer that you catch it.
Yes. And a catcher wants to keep an umpire in good humor.
Yes.
So catch those, knock them down, do whatever you can, because you want him to be your friend. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, back there tonight. Now Justin Smoke. Fastball up and away. Year-old left-hander. He was on the opening day roster for the first time in his career. Ahead of Smoke, he took a big cut. 1-2. Two. Rays trying to keep the Blue Jays from scoring in an inning. That has not happened yet tonight, and they threaten here in the 4th. Score again, a base hit into center. Donaldson crosses the plate. So does Bautista. Smoke drives in 2. Those runs charged to Ramirez. That makes it 9-0.
Well, just another example of a pitch not getting to the correct spot, and Justin Smoke able to shoot that ball up the middle the other way. Beliveau trying to go in. That ball stays middle. Smoke down and through it.
So Smoke picks up his first 2 runs batted in of the year, and here's Kevin Pillar. 1-0. Pillar 2 for 2 tonight. And you can see him up there when he sets up. His hands are lower than they used to be, closer in. He fouls this one the other way. 1-1.
See where he ends up on his load. You see the hands down low to start. Trying to stay short, compact.
And quite a play right there by Forsythe in foul territory to retire the side. But 2 more runs score. The opening error led the way. Take another look at Forsythe. Flashing some good leather there on that play. It's 9-0 Blue Jays.
Nothing Toronto as we head to the 5th inning. By the way, thanks to Kip and Deb up there at the Renaissance Hotel. Very gracious hosts. They had the Grey Goose flowing. They had tequila shots. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to alcohol, so I couldn't partake, but they are having a great time up there. Guys, here's our next question on our website Wednesday. John Morosi of Fox Sports says MLB is actively monitoring the turf situation here at Rogers Center. They have not arrived at any conclusions, but they're concerned about anything affecting fair play. Is this one of those situations that you think will just play out as the turf gets worn in, or after this homestand, do you think they'll have to look at it, guys?
Yeah, well, it's definitely slow, and they were also concerned about the seams. Players talked about how prevalent the seams were, and so you can understand why there is a little concern about that. There you go.
There. Yeah, I know that with new turf, they're constantly rolling it. It's a process, and it takes some time to get it to where everybody, is happy with it and it plays fair for both sides, both hitters and pitchers. But, interesting. Toronto just opened up their home part of their schedule just a couple of days ago, so I'm sure that there's going to be, a time period that they're going to take a look at it. I don't think anything will be done too soon. What could you do?
I remember when the Rays changed turf at the Trop with the field turf, when they went away from AstroTurf to field turf, and the idea was there was that infill that we talked about, little ground up pieces of rubber tires, it seemed like soles of athletic shoes. Beckham is out on strikes, called infill, and the idea then was that you could determine how slowly or how quickly you could play the game on that turf depending upon infill. Not a lot of it. They thought you might get less bounce. It would be slower in that way. And you wonder here if they maybe have filled it to a point where they thought it was going to be all right, but it's not packed in, or maybe there's not enough infill, which makes it slower. But there's something that will need to be addressed.
One way or the other, they'll figure something out. I know when we see balls that are hit, ground balls, balls that hit the turf here, it kicks up a lot of that, that material. So, who knows? The only thing that we're sure of is that it absolutely 100% plays slow and slower than normal. So however you have to rectify that, I'm sure they'll have to do in due time.
There's a strike called on the inside corner. Geyer caught looking after Beckham was out swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts. A third strikeout in the last couple innings, and the fourth of the night for Mark Burley.
As you can see right there on Fox Tracks, he just continues to use the entire strike zone. Not afraid with less than powerful stuff to be all over the place with it. Challenge guys in, pitch them away, up, down.
Steven Souza Jr. who takes it down for a ball. Two and 0. Two and 1. But wide. Two up, two down in the fifth. There's a long one to deep left field, and boy, that's got a charge in it. Gone. We're seeing some power from Steven Souza Jr. here the last couple nights, and no doubt about that one. Rays are on the board. Second home run for Souza.
Well, he got himself into a good count. Another pitch that was out over the plate and hittable. And boy, the home run last night, impressive. This home run, very impressive. No doubter.
It's Drupal Cabrera. It's going to tail into the seats. Well, a long blast by Steven Souza Jr.
Well, he said the opening week of the season that he was probably trying to do a little bit too much, trying to show off, trying to prove to everybody that in his first opportunity to be an everyday major league player, that's exactly what he was. And you take yourself out of what makes you comfortable, out of what you do well. And he recognized that after that first week and said, I'm going to go back to doing the things that I did to get me here. And early returns are pretty encouraging.
Lifted toward right center where Bautista tracks it down. Ray's going to run on the Souza home run. We go to the bottom of the fifth inning. There's a look at the blast. Souza giving the Rays what they thought they were getting. Power, speed, and the ability to play small ball. On the board, Steven Souza Jr. building a home run to make it 9-1. The Rays have made change on the infield. Logan Forsythe goes over to play third base. And there's Alan Dykstra now at first base as we head into the bottom of the 5th inning. Dalton Pompey leads it off for the Blue Jays. And Mikey Matuk takes over in center field. Cut the miss. With a word on James Loney that sounds pretty good at this point. I think he's due to come off around the 22nd, about a week from now. And they're thinking right now where he is, that's about right, somewhere around there. They expect him to be back. Souza in right field. Pompey's the first out. So that would be good to start to get some of these regulars back. John Jaso with the wrist injury has not swung a bat yet, so they're waiting on him.
Yeah, that would be concerning. You know, the wrist injury, and that could be tricky for a hitter. Wrist obviously very, very important, and so they're going to be cautious and make sure that that thing is feeling really good before they start to stress it. But the information coming in on Loney, you're right. That's such good news because he's another guy to add to this lineup that will work counts. Very good hitter. We've seen that. You know, you can almost pencil him at 300 against lefties and righties. Throw him in the lineup every day. He's going to play Gold Glove caliber defense at first base and give you good at bat after good at bat.
Two. Travis up here with one out and the bases empty. John Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays, likes Travis a lot. He likes his gritty play at second base. He's tough around the bag. And he also likes his approach to hitting, and you can see why.
Well, tries to stay quiet and still at the plate. How about the pop that he showed going the other way off the top of the wall out in right center field? And if you're able to do that, you're able to stay back and recognize pitches, trust your hands.
Well, he's always hit where he's been. He was in the Tigers system. They actually played him a little bit in the outfield in the minor leagues just to kind of take a look out there, but he otherwise has been at second base. This one pulled down the line and fouled. And the Blue Jays think they may have found a guy, and it's early. He's a rookie and a young player, but they think they may have found a guy who could man second base for quite a while around here.
Oh, 24 years old. Absolutely should be able to. He continues to work hard. Play solid defense, and you know that turn at second base, turning the double play, and that fearlessness of standing in there. Huge plus. Trying to incorporate the youngsters in with all of the veterans on this team.
Well, if he turns out to be an everyday player for them, they will have added some, I don't know if you want to call it hard-nosed play, but certainly gritty play at second base and third base on this team.
Yep.
Fly ball to left. Geyer will go to the wall. And he has hit it out. seen him drive the ball deep to right center and turn on that one. That's his second home run.
Fastball is what he hit to right center. This is going to be off-speed delivery by Jeff Beliveau, and he just waits on it, gets around it. See right here, off-speed, boom. Catch it underneath before the break and drop it over the wall.
So it's 10-1, 10 runs, 10 hits for Toronto. Steve Tollison now hitting in the place of Reyes. 1-0 to him. Two 2-0. Here's the home run pitch.
Breaking ball, and he gets to it before the final break, kind of sweeping across the plate, and Travis impressively able to get underneath it.
Now 2-1. Travis picked up his first major league hit. Was a home run, and now he's hit his second home run. Three-1 the count to Tollison. Beliveau walks him. One out walk. Jim Hickey heads to the mound. Gives us an opportunity to let you know what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame shows presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Chris Archer. You'll hear from him. Restis will break down the Rays catcher Rene Rivera as Chris Archer prepares to square off against Aaron Sanchez.
Hey, did you Dwayne, did you happen to read the story about the resident from Long Island who had a rental car and there were bed bugs in the rental car?
Really?
Yeah. So he got the idea that he was going to go ahead and douse the interior of the rental car with alcohol to kill the bed bugs. And so he did that, and then decided a few minutes later that he was going to go ahead and light up while sitting in the car. It didn't go well for the bed bugs, him, or the car.
Wow.
He's going to be fine. Car is not, nor the bed bugs. It's good.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, note to self. Here's the first question as the pitch is in there, a strike to Donaldson. If you find a car so afflicted, why are you going to keep it?
It's a rental.
Yeah.
It's a rental. Let's take it back.
Yeah. One and one.
Or you could choose door number 2 and go down that route. Not recommended.
Ooh. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Donaldson trying to put himself back together.
Well, breaking ball is going to do a little pirouette.
And that right foot went out from under him.
Well, you start your swing and then realize that ball is just continuing to bore in. Make the adjustment, and there go the feet.
And he drives this one into left center field. One hops the wall. Matuk plays for Karam. Collison's on his way to the plate, and he is safe. Third run batted into the ninth for Donaldson. 11 runs across the plate for Toronto.
Just a glimpse at what this lineup is capable of if you're not making quality pitches to them. The Rays, for the most part, did that the first 2 games of this series. not as well tonight, and balls out over the plate tonight have gotten hammered. And they have not let up. Scored in each of the 5 innings so far.
Now Jose Bautista. Bautista homered to start the scoring in the first inning at a 2-run shot. 1-0. Jose Dominguez has been up in the bullpen. The Rays recalled him from Durham with Kirby Yates option. Yates last night pitched 2 innings, and with an option, the Rays needing some availability in the bullpen sent him to Durham. There's a ground ball backhanded by Forsythe. So Bautista's the second out of the inning on a nice play, third to first. And there is Jose Dominguez, 24-year-old right-hander. He's got a big arm. He's easily in that 95 to 96 range. And we're going to get to see him. Kevin Cash to the mound to make a change. We'll be back.
To put that jersey on, what he did, breaking those barriers, and to get to be a part of the experience, and we're honoring a great person, not just a great baseball player, but a great person.
Well, Branch Rickey said he had to be strong enough not to fight back and to take a lot of the abuse that was handed out, and it takes a lot of strength to do that. And that's one of the things that made what he accomplished so special. And baseball remembers that, the 68th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the cover barrier. We're in the bottom of the 5th here in Toronto, and the Rays' new pitcher is Jose Dominguez, facing Edwin Encarnacion. Pitch is a strike. So an inning of the 3rd for Beliveau. We're 2 outs into the 5th. Donaldson at second. He drove in a run with a double. Chop left side. Forsythe to Dykstra. That takes care of the Blue Jays, but they've scored in every inning and lead this game 11-1. 2 runs in every inning. They lead 11-1, and they have the 36-year-old Mark Buehrle just setting his own pace out there.
Yeah, and he just continues to work the ball around the zone, using all of his pitches: cutter, fastball, change-ups, occasional curveball, and he's been very good once again. Got himself into a little bit of a trouble trying to hurry up a double play ball against Kevin Kiermaier, and then turns right around and gets Rene Rivera to hit into a double play with the bases loaded, and you see his line right there. He's going to give up some base runners, a hit an inning plus 1 walk, but the results so far have been very good.
Alan Dykstra facing Buehrle, and he fouls the first pitch back. Dykstra hitting in the spot originally occupied by Evan Longoria. Ground ball to first. Smoke's going to make the play unassisted. 1 out. Desmond Jennings. Desmond reached down the base hit in the 4th inning. There's a strike. Buehrle handed an early 2-0 lead, and his teammates have just added to that lead every inning. There's Tolleson from shortstop, and he makes a nice play to get Jennings. Steve Tolleson just into the game, throws out Jennings.
Impressive enough to come up with that hard hit ball in the backhand, but how quickly he was able to inject himself off the turf right there and get into a throwing position. Don't have a whole lot of time to play with Jennings heading down the line, but boy, oh boy, he got that throw off quickly.
That's Logan Forsythe now playing third base, and that's a strike to him. But Tolleson's dad, Wayne Tolleson, spent parts of 10 years in the major leagues, and so the son well tutored on infield play and made a nice play right there. Into the seats, foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2. Right-hander. It's up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. So far it's been a pretty easy night for Buehrle. Big lead. Set his quick pace. Redmond up in the bullpen. Todd Redmond. Shot toward right center. Forsythe has himself an extra base hit. He'll beat the throw in. His second hit tonight and his second double of the year.
When ball stays up and away, Logan Forsythe able to get a very good look at it, shoot it out into right center field, tuck in his necklace, and get out to second base. Double threat guy.
Take care of those accessories.
You don't want those things, banging up, chipping a tooth. Get it back down to that shirt.
Now Mikey Matuk getting his first plate appearance of the night, and he fouls it back. Strike one. Matuk taking over in center field in the 5th inning. Takes a good cut, fouls this one back. Braves with a run, 6 hits. One and two. Matuk with a couple of at-bats since joining the team from Durham, where he had 292 last year. Had a good year down there and had a nice on-base percentage. And hits this one high and deep into left center. That one is going to get out of here. Mikey Matuk's first big league hit is a home run off Mark Burley. A home run by Matuk. 2-run shot. And he has that first hit out of the way. Well, there was little question about that one upon contact. Rene Rivera takes a strike.
The only question was how long were his teammates going to stone him when he got back into the dugout.
Rivera pops it up. Travis makes the catch in shallow right out from second. Rays are finished, but a 2-run home run by Mikey Matuk's first big league hit. There it is, and the Rays put 2 on the board. It's now 11-3. A home run to get that first big league hit. Here it is again. Boy, that's one for the trophy case to hit one off Mark Burley.
On the road, and it was a no-doubter. Slapping a high five to all his friends.
Nice going. He's going to be an interesting player, I think, to watch. You know, he had a pretty good year at Durham last year. He made some progress. The Rays have been hard-pressed to find a hitter in their system through the years who came through with a pretty good on-base percentage. And as we saw there, he's got some pop and showed signs of a good on-base percentage. So he's going to be fun to watch. Here's Deanna Navarro in the bottom of the 6th inning, leading off against Jose Dominguez. 1-0. Navarro walked and scored a run in the 3rd. They're followed by Justin Smoke, then Kevin Pillar. Dominguez came to the Rays from the Dodgers. That was in the Joel Peralta deal. 2-1. He's 24 years old and great velocity. It's 3-1. Fair ball. Dykstra will make the play unassisted. So with one out here in the bottom of the 6th, time to check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, Sunday is the first Kids Sunday Family Fun Day at Tropicana Field of the season. The Yankees are in town, and for all kids 14 and under, they get this, a very unique item, Evan Longoria rubber ducky giveaway. There you go. It's Evan Longoria as a duck with a baseball bat, a glove. It's got his jersey number on the back. There you see Longoria. It does not quack, but it kind of, floats along there. 14 and under Sunday. Go to 888-FAN-RAISE, call up 888-FAN-RAISE or raisebaseball.com to get your Longoria rubber ducky. It goes very well with the sports restaurant that he has, Ducky's, there on Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of these over there at Ducky's. The Evan Longoria rubber ducky, guys. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. Todd's very animated tonight, demonstrating the rubber duck. Spending some time up in one of the palatial rooms here at the ballpark.
I just think it's ironic that he did the hit on the Evan Longoria rubber duck after he was talking about the goose.
That's a theme. Let's see what's next. There's a strike. 3-1. You're always wondering with Todd what's next. That's why he's such an intriguing figure. Ball 4. So Dominguez walks Smoke. Second walk he's drawn. So Justin Smoke is at first base on for the 3rd time tonight. And here's Kevin Pillar. Upstairs 1-0.
Well, that's what will be interesting to watch in the development here of Dominguez. Great arm, tremendous stuff, command. And we've seen some good, some not so good. You can't deny the stuff. Low 80s on the slider, mid to upper 90s on the heater.
One and two.
You can see mechanically too, he's kind of quiet, and then right here explodes to the plate, and that ball just jumps the glove of Rivera.
Jose Dominguez, he is a cousin of Alex Colomé. So both Colomé and Dominguez with great arms. Cabrera, Beckham 1, first base 2, 6-4-3 on that double play, and that'll take care of the Blue Jays. And for the first time tonight, they do not score. 11-3 Toronto. Baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Well, we've seen enough of the left-hander Mark Buehrle's 6 innings, 97 pitches. He's gone, allowing 3 runs on 7 hits, and departs with an 11-3 lead. Todd Redmond, who pitched Saturday against Baltimore, on to work the 7th inning with Tim Beckham to lead it off for the Rays. High fly ball into the left. Pilar will go to the wall, and this one is caught. Pilar brought it back. Beckham robbed of a home run by Pilar. That is some catch by the Toronto left fielder.
And if you could watch him timing his leap, he's going to use the wall. Wow.
Beckham appeared to have his 2nd home run, and Pilar just took it away from him.
What a play. What a play. I mean, perfect timing. 1 foot into the wall, push up. These walls here at Rogers Center, taller than normal. And then reaching over the very top to pull it back.
That is amazing. That is robbery right there. We'll take another look at this. Certainly worth that. Really? My, oh my.
I think the best part of that catch was when he was watching the replay on the Jumbotron. He fist pumped himself. And I don't blame him.
Absolutely. So 1 out in the inning, 3-1 to count on Geyer. He lifts a fly ball to right. This will be a bit more routine. Bautista there, 2 gone. Well, that catch by Kevin Pillar puts him right there with the likes of Torrey Hunter and Carlos Gomez. They robbed a few people of home runs. And we saw Pillar deny one to Beckham here tonight. A ball, no strikes, the count to Steven Souza. Souza's hit 2 in this series so far that no one had a chance to rob him, including that big shot to center field last night and then a blast to deep left tonight. He did go, said Jeff Nelson, and it's 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. And strike 3 called. Down go the Rays. Let's look at Kevin Pillar's catch. We're in the middle of the 7th inning. And the Blue Jays hold this big lead 11-3.
Blue Jays. Ernesto Frieri takes over for the Rays here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It is a website Wednesday, your last couple of innings to get in. If you want a question for Dwayne and BA to be answered, you can tweet your questions to at SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays. Here's a ball drilled deep to right field, and that's going to make it 12-3 on the first pitch of the bottom half of the 7th inning. Dalton Pompey with a long home run. Guys, the question is, Kevin Cash, first 9 games as a manager, your first impressions, and second part of that, a lot of fans want to know about his choice of attire, wearing not a uniform, but the warm-up jacket. If you like that, or you like managers to go with the full uni. Back to you.
All right, well, a little noise here in the bottom of the 7th on that first pitch. Pompey delivers. A Vesuvian blast by Pompey. And it's now 12-3.
How in the world do we go from that to a question?
The ground ball, a base hit to right by Trappis. So Travis is aboard as they greet Frieri. Kevin Cash What's our impression so far, I think, was the question. And what about the top? He looks fine to me. And he appears to be doing a fine job.
Yeah. No, listen, I like a manager who wins.
Yeah.
It makes it a whole lot more fun for us, for those players, for the fans. And so his garb, no problem with that. As far as what, kind of what we've noticed out of Kevin Cash, we've noticed a recommitment to the Rays running game. They've got a more athletic team. We've seen a number of double steals. He's been a big fan of that. I love his even-keeled approach to things and his stay in the background and let the players do their thing. Kind of manage, not from out in front unless he needs to be out in front, but just behind the scenes, running the show, letting his coaches do their thing. Very understated. And I think the early impressions are very favorable for Kevin Cash.
Yeah, and you have been in the clubhouse, in the dugout with managers. And it seems to me the way he approaches this thing, he's building up tons of capital with his team. He wants those guys to be the forefront. He'll make the decisions. He'll be firm with those decisions. But he doesn't seek the limelight. And so I think, and you can obviously speak to that better than I could, having been there, but I think this bunch buys into that.
What I've heard, you can only observe so much, but what you hear coming out of the clubhouse is the most cohesive team in memory. This group, truly caring for each other, caring for the coaching staff. The feelings are mutual back and forth, and that trust is being built. And when you trust your manager, then you don't question anything. You just go out and play. You just go out and play, and he creates that atmosphere where your only thought is going out and doing your job, and you're presented with enough information. There's been enough trust put into you that you feel like if I'm out there for a reason. That's to get the job done.
Chopped to short, 6-4, 3 and out. Donaldson grounds into the double play. A run on the Pompey home run. We're through 7, and it's 12-3 Toronto. That's the summary of the night. The game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Swords. It has been all Toronto. Some blast in this one. Bautista, Travis, and Pompey for Toronto, and Souza Jr. and Matuk for the Rays. We go to the 8th. Here's Cabrera leading it off. 1-0 the count. One home run robbed by Pilar, denying Beckham his second home run. It's a 1-1 count. Dykstra will be next. Two and 0. Two. 6 innings for Burley. Todd Redmond opening his second inning. Redmond, 29 years old. He'll be 30 in a little over a month. Out of St. Petersburg.
Former bad boy.
2-2, Sky to left, and Pilar is there. One away here in the 8th. There you go. From St. Pete.
Do we know if he still resides in St. Pete or in the general area?
Last I knew, he did. So, born and bred, makes his home there.
It's a chance to face the hometown team.
1-0 to Dykstra. Two and 0. Now ball 3. 3-0. Red Balfour up in the bullpen. And ball 4. So Dykstra walks on 4 pitches. Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns back-to-back AL East showdowns. The Orioles take on the Red Sox, followed by the Yankees squaring off against the Rays. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on America's Home for Baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Bobby Wilson will bat here in the 8th. Comes after this one and pops it foul. That's a strike. Wilson looks at strike 2, down in the count. One on, one out in the 8th. looking. First strikeout for Redmond.
Now, Todd Redmond, he's got that, again, that out there low three-quarter arm angle. He drops down here. Completely different look. Really slings this from the side and just freezes Bobby Wilson. Good fastball. Caught a lot of plate, but maybe the change in arm angle throws Wilson off, and another out for the Blue Jays.
Cut and a miss by Logan Forsythe. One. Redmond was drafted originally by the Pirates out of St. Pete College. He's a draft and follow guy. Eventually dealt to the Braves system. Ground ball. That'll be handled at second base. Flip to Travis for the force. We go to the bottom half of the eighth. 12-3.
Day for everyone, man, and for us to be able to play on this day is a blessing and an honor to honor him and to honor his legacy that he paved the way for us. So it's a very special day for me as well.
Jackie Robinson Day, the 68th anniversary. Jackie Robinson breaking into Major League Baseball with the Brooklyn Dodgers. We go to the bottom of the eighth inning. Grant Balfour is the new pitcher for the Rays. Andy Valencia is going to bat to open the bottom of the eighth. It's been all Toronto in this game. They've out-hit the Rays 13-7 and have outscored them 12-3. Balfour's the fifth Rays pitcher. The pitch is in there, a strike. Bautista opened in the third spot, hit a home run with a man on in the first to open the scoring.
And boy, did that blast set the tone for this ball game, because they would then score 3 in the second, 2 more in the third, 2 more in the fourth, 2 more in the fifth, and by that time they had just run away with this ball game. But that's the way that this offense can be lined up. You know, we saw John Gibbons made the change, Josh Donaldson going into the number 2 hole. We've seen the Blue Jays flash a lot of power and a lot of production at the bottom of the lineup tonight. And that's when it can get hairy facing this team. They've got some young players down at the bottom that can be productive.
High pop fly into short center, and Matuk is there to make the catch. 1 away. Edwin Encarnacion. Erasmo Ramirez started and again had a tough time of it. 9 runs, 7 earned in 3 1/3.
Just far too often bad counts that would then lead to either a handful of walks or bad location when you fall behind. And Toronto hitters, a lot of hard contact, and weren't missing much.
Beliveau gave up 2 runs, Dominguez none, and an inning and a third. Then Frieri gave up the home run to Pompey to greet him.
You know, we were talking in between innings. What about the power show from Pompey? That was a blast.
Yep.
Vesuvian, I believe you dropped.
It was, yes.
It's brilliant. But then think about Travis going the other way for a double and then hitting a home run to left field the night that Pilar's had.
Yep. Yeah, Travis in the 9th spot, Pompey in the 8th spot, and Travis, as you pointed out, maybe more impressive than the home run was the double into right center, and then he homered to left his next time up.
Well, he pushed that fastball and shot that thing out into right center field, right above the 375 sign by the David Roberts sign.
Yeah, not too far off from a 2 home run night for him.
No, and to do it right center and left field.
One out, base is empty, and a full count on Encarnacion. Chopped to short. Cabrera takes care of that, so 2 outs. Our extended coverage comes your way on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Rich Anarest is anchoring the coverage. We'll hear the Kevin Cash press conference, and Todd Callis will contribute interviews from the Rays clubhouse. 2 outs against Balfour, and here's Deotter Navarro. Navarro 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. One ball, 1 strike. Two outs with the bases empty. Bottom of the 8th. Ground ball. Beckham plays it to first. And for the second time tonight in 8 innings, the Blue Jays put up a blank. 12-3 Toronto. Well, Chris Archer will go to the mound tomorrow night for the Rays against Aaron Sanchez in the wrap-up game of the series and the road trip finale. Archer coming off the outing against the Marlins in Miami, and boy, was he ever good. 7 innings of one-hit baseball, just 1 walk. And he'll be after his 2nd win of the year here tomorrow night in Toronto. Our coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow. Danny Valencia in right field after hitting in the bottom of the 8th. Todd Redmond back out on the hill. He faces Mikey Matuk, who picked up his first big league hit his last time. That was a home run. This time a high fly ball, shallow right, and out from second base is Travis to make the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out in the 9th. Brings up Rene Rivera to face Redmond. As we mentioned, Redmond from St. Petersburg. He was also traded when he went from the Pirates to the Braves organization. He was traded for the brother of Kirby Yates, Tyler Yates, in that deal. Kirby just optioned to Durham. Cut and the miss. The count is 1-1. And 2.
And there's that change in arm angle again, this time with the slider. See Todd Redmond with some good stuff tonight. That fastball 91-93 with the sweeping slider getting some work, trying to close this game out for the Blue Jays. Clunker here tonight for the Rays, but as you mentioned, coming into tomorrow's game with Chris Archer going to the mound and Sanchez, quite frankly, for the Blue Jays, you're going to see 2 young starters with some electric stuff going head to head.
Yeah, that's a great matchup. 2 great young arms.
I'll tell you what, you look at this staff, the way it's situated right now, and really, no matter who is there, and you're going to make an attempt, more than likely to go for 3 out of 4. Not a bad option to send to the hill.
It's inside, ball 4. Well, there were a lot of folks who might have thought the Rays had no chance of trying to put together that kind of road trip, given who's on the disabled list these days. And that's another thing about Cash and this team. The question a couple innings ago, what do you think about the job he's done? And I think it's, to this point, been remarkable, but there's a plan to all of that, and he's about getting the job done and not reacting to difficult situations. You just keep your head down and keep going.
Yeah, no excuses. Not going to make excuses. You know, privately, he's got to be sitting in his manager's office going, I'd love to play with 3/4 of my team. I feel like you're playing with half the squad right now, but he's never going to use that as an excuse. And they're going to piece together what they have. They've built some good depth, and they're going to find out about that depth here at the beginning of the season.
Well, he's playing with 8 rookies on this team.
Yeah,
almost a third of his roster are rookies, and they've gotten off to only the 2nd time in franchise history to a 5-3 start. That's a base hit out of Tollison's reach, and Beckham, who was robbed of a home run in the 7th inning, has his 2nd hit of the night. First hit Redmond has given up. So Beckham, who hit that ball on the first pitch Redmond threw tonight, that Pilar brought back and left, now has a base hit. 2 men on with one out, and here's Brandon Guyer. Strike one. Rays play tomorrow night, and they'll be home over the weekend with the Yankees coming in. Oh, 2. Breaking ball, and it's fouled. He was waiting on it and protecting. Right now, Baltimore has a 7-3 lead at home over the Yankees in the top of the 8th. Washington beat the Red Sox at Fenway 10-5. This one darts outside. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Steven Souza Jr. is on deck. Ground ball headed into left through the hole. Rivera advances to third, and the Rays have loaded the bases with one out in the 9th inning. And Steven Souza Jr. is about to step in. You know, with the couple of home runs in this series we've seen from Souza Jr., he is showing that he could be one of those guys that, regardless of the score, you might want to stick around and see his at bat.
Well, they've been monstrous. That was the home run here tonight, deep into the 2nd deck. The home run last night was just, well, I don't get a real feel for how far that was, even from a good shot of TV, but it was an absolute blast. Monstrous.
Pitch is low. 1 ball, no strikes. A walk and 2 hits for the Rays in the 9th, 1 out. Bases are loaded. One and 1. Colt Hines in the bullpen. Shot to left. Pilar back, and that one is off the top of the wall. Rivera will score. Beckham heads to the plate. It's a double. 2nd and 3rd now for the Rays with a couple runs home. And it's 12-5.
I'll tell you what, the ball just jumping off Souza's bat. He just about knocked the wall down in left center field. That was a rocket right off the top of the wall. I mean, he blistered this ball.
So the Rays with a couple runs, and John Gibbons is going to come out and go to the bullpen. We'll be right back. Inning, the Rays have scored a couple runs. Redmond out after 2 1/3. And here's that swing from Steven Souza Jr.
Well, that's a pretty swing from the right side. Short, quick, and powerful. Boy, that ball a foot, maybe a half a foot from getting out of here on a line.
Now 2nd and 3rd with 1 out with Asdrubal Cabrera and to face Hines. Ground ball shortstop. Tollison takes it to first. Geyer crosses the plate. The Rays get a run. Their 3rd of the inning. And the 5th run batted in for Cabrera on the year. Now 12-6. And here is Dykstra. 12-6, and the game is more lopsided than that score would indicate.
Well, it's Toronto Blue Jays jumped out to that early lead on the 2-run homer by Jose Bautista and then just continued to pile on. And that's what gives it that feel. They were up so big, so early, and scored in the first 5 innings.
2-0 the count on Dykstra. He takes a strike. 2-1. And there is ball 3. 3-1. Hines was in the game in the 9th inning last night. Picked up a couple strikeouts. Gave up 2 hits, no runs. And he just walked Dykstra. 1st and 2nd. And Bobby Wilson will get another trip to the plate. He struck out looking in the 8th. Pitch wide.
This will drive a pitching coach and a manager crazy.
Yeah, you think about John Gibbons, for an example. Team loses a couple tough games here to start it. Then they've got what appears to be a laugher, and they just can't end it. And this one into the gap, left center field. That's going to get Souza Jr. home. Dykstra stops at 2nd, and the Rays have another run. So it's 12-7.
Well, they're going to have batted around here in the 9th inning. And that's another characteristic of this Rays team. They just don't stop. I mean, you really have to finish them off and record that 27th out. They just keep coming at you. And here Bobby Wilson drops one in.
And Logan Forsythe is the hitter.
A couple more of those, and
it gets a little serious. And here's Gibbons coming out, and he's going to have to use another pitcher here in the 9th. Social media with Sun Sports and your favorite Rays broadcast team all season long on Instagram and Twitter by following @SunSportsRays. Probably looking for it right now.
Yeah. Everybody participating in social media, updating accounts, home pages, Twitter handles.
Large and small.
Very important nowadays.
Brett Cecil is the third pitcher of the inning, and one man in the park not very happy is John Gibbons.
Wow. I'm going to tell you what, the fact that he has to turn to Brett Cecil in what should have been a runaway laugher game, you know that he's livid.
And there's a hot shot foul off the bat of Logan Forsythe.
But you got to tip your hat to this Rays lineup. You know, listen, this was also a lineup that had some guys come out early. You know, I mean, making some changes defensively, having Longoria out of the game amongst others, and yet they just continue to put up good at-bats, have closed late, and made it uncomfortable for that man right there.
4-run ninth. Forsythe fouling it away, 0-2.
And if nothing else, forced those pitching changes.
Yep.
You know, you force Brett Cecil to get ready, number one, but then to have to come in and close this game out.
Yeah, and for the Rays, it's something that started the way this one did. That's a salvage of this game. Swing and a miss. 9 men to come to the plate in the ninth. Cecil strikes out Forsythe. The Rays score 4. And the Blue Jays win this game 12-7. Burley's going to get his second win of the year, and Ramirez takes the loss before a crowd of better than 15,000. Took 3 hours and 3 minutes to play it, a good part of that in the ninth. 12-7, the Blue Jays over the Rays. Same two teams tomorrow in the wrap-up game of the road trip for the Rays. We'll be with you at 6:30. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame, our continuing coverage next.